So now it decides to work. Uh, Helen, which pincer? I don't know why my internet keeps doing this. It's very annoying that it happens it's been once every of the last 3 streams now. So that's pretty frustrating. But we are back. Saved. Yes. Hello everyone again. Um but I would like to hear about this card. The art by Suwama Chiaki. Um, I'm sure I have it because I have all of them at this point. Oh, the one where it's got like the funny, this like the small eyes. Is that the one I'm thinking about from Lost Thunder? All pincer Pokemon cards. Yeah, okay. I found the one that we're talking about. This guy. That's the funny pincer. Very nice. Good find. I still haven't I know I've said this to you in the DMs, Helen, but my local card store scene here is not excellent. Um, Hi Tortilla, thank you for your streak. Mom, you just texted me. Yes, I am live, Mom Tomology. Hello. Um, have fun at your conference, Tortilla. We'll miss you. Um, However, we were just talking about this antennal insertion thing on the Tenebrionid, and I went and found another Tenebrionid specimen. So same family, that we can see how that character looks on a different specimen. Space Camp, that's crazy. That's a cool friend to have. Um, I'm collecting all of the all of the bug cards or all of the arts of all of the bug cards. So there is a spreadsheet with a list of cards that I need. Um, I got my grail at the moment was the most recent full art pincer, and that was the one that I got and showed y'all before. That was my birthday present to myself. I bought the PSA 10 of that one. Um, so this is a different Darkling Beetle. But you can see the eyes aren't as conspiratorial. But you still can't see that antennal insertion. So that antennal first antennal segment is covered by that little outjutting of the side of the head. And then the last character that's like easily available for tenebrionids is that they have fused abdominal segments. The first three are fused. So if we simply look under the body, um, abdominal segments, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's kind of this is a fairly tricky character, but I think this one actually shows it really, really nicely. Um, can you see how down here there's like this little membrane space between segments 3 and 4 and 4 and 5, like right where the pin is right now? Oh, I'm live. Good thing. Good thing we know that. PFO, welcome in. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, Helen, the red looking stuff. So that is intersegmental membrane. So that is membrane that is between the segments. However, on those first three, so starting here and going down to that first red piece, those divisions between the abdominal segments are not membranous. Those are fused abdominal segments. We also call that connate. So when it's fused like that, you'll see like connate ventриtes or whatever in keys when you're looking at it that way. But those first three segments are going to be fused, and we can flip over the other beetle that we were looking at earlier and see the same thing, but a little bit different composition. So if we look at the very back, so where the intersegmental membranes are, those last two are free, quote unquote, ventриtes. But then the ones that are actually fused together are proportionately a lot longer on the abdomen than the other one that we were just looking at. So even though this takes up way, way more of the abdomen, that is still just 3 abdominal segments. And you can see that those first 3 are all fused together. Yeah, it's just chunky. It's just longer. I don't really think I can get these two in view together. They're both still pretty big beetles. Just the proportioning on all of them is a little bit different. But I will take you back to the other specimen now, because there was something on there that I think if you didn't notice it, you should have, but I think you guys probably did. Maybe just didn't say anything. We got some hella hairy feet. So let's get our up close foot shot again. And that's the wrong way. Gotta come down. And so there's fluff on here as well. That's just like debris. Here, all of that. Hopefully, I just got rid of it. Under here, the hairs on insect feet help them grab onto things. In a lot of groups, carabids included, so ground beetles, the group that I work on, they have extra tarsal pads, the males have like wider front feet than the females do because they mate on top of the female, and so having that extra seedy on under the front legs helps them grab and hold on to the females while they're mating. This one doesn't quite do it like that. As far as I know, the tarsi are not sexually dimorphic between males and females. Um, this one in particular needs that extra gripping strength because this is a beetle that is found under tree bark. So if you're on a tree, you obviously need surface area to help you grab onto and stick to the tree, more so than if you're something that is on the ground. This first one that we were looking at is a low desert beetle that has got fused elytra, does not fly, only is crawling around on the ground. The other one, I think, I could be wrong, Polopinus, is also flightless. But because it is doing something slightly different, you get some pretty vastly different morphologies and like what they actually look like. So let that focus for a second. The one on the left is the desert beetle. The one on the right is the one that's on trees. And so you can see they're like pretty similar in size. But the one on the right is the one that had those golden hairs under the foot to help with climbing the trees. Because that's going to be the one that's... Oh, losing it here. There we go. That's going to be the one that needs that extra help to like grab onto trees as it's climbing. Because the one on the left doesn't climb trees at all. It just walks on the ground. Now, from the top, it's not super obvious how different they are. You can see differences in shape and everything like that, but those are just species differences. If we turn them sideways... Oh, that's not... How am I going to do that? Maybe like this. Yeah, that shows it. That's great. Now, chat, which one of these do you think lives under tree bark, and which one do you think is roaming around on its own? Yeah, flats under trees. Very, very good. So, the one on the right of your screen right now is the flatter one, and that's the one that's going to be living under tree bark. The one on the left is the free living one that's going to be generally living in burrows or little areas underneath underneath plants or rocks or whatever in the desert. Goddess, hello. Welcome in. We're looking at big beetles today. So yeah, lots of morphological differences that kind of give you hints as to what these things are doing. The one on the left is the one that had the much longer abdominal ventrites. Because it has that more rounded shape, it needs that extra length to kind of accommodate that larger abdomen to be able to store resources longer. The flat one, it's still fused, but because they're shorter when they're fused, there is more mobility with the abdomen. And that helps, again, if you're living under tree bark, right? You need that extra mobility to help maneuver around. Missu Kissu, hello. Welcome in. we are going over some beetle identification today. And I was just showing two examples of things that are the same family. So these are pretty closely related, but even despite their overall appearance being pretty similar, big black beetles, um, there are a lot of differences that you can end up seeing under the microscope that give you a little bit more information about what they're actually doing out in nature. Before we wrap it up with these two, let's go back into Flatboy here and look at the underside of the head. We looked at the palps of the other one and we saw how kind of interesting that was. This is actually a lot more similar than I thought it would have been. BBB, big black beetles. Yeah, we don't get to talk about those enough, Roach. Whenever we're doing Beetle ID courses or whatever, we end up talking about the LBBs, the little brown beetles, and how they all look really similar and how it's kind of a pain. Excuse me. Kind of a pain to identify them. But you can see here, there are still those kind of wide maxillary palps, but they're not nearly as wide as the other ones. You'll also notice there's a lot less fuzz in and around the mouth. And that's because primarily I think this one under bark is going to be feeding on fungi. And they are not nearly as water protective. Excuse me. Because it's from Florida, right? It rains a lot more often here, so they don't have to preserve water as much. So it's eating fungus, it's under tree bark, it doesn't have to retain as much, so it doesn't need all of that hair to kind of help conserve every last little bit of water that it gets. We can talk about a couple of other anatomical things while we're here. If we come down just a little bit, we are now looking at the underside of the pronotum. So this is the front pair of legs. Oh, too far. There we go. Beetle belly. So here, too shiny. Let me maybe move that back down. Okay, so we're still looking between the front pair of legs. This is the intercoxal process. So this section right here between those front legs is the intercoxal process. And again, like I said earlier, a process is any sort of segment that sticks out anywhere on the insect, really, which is why we have to specify that this is the intercoxal process. So between the front two coxae, you have this thing, and the shape and the edges, and if there's hair or not on the intercoxal process, are all identifying characters that you eventually have to use in the key. If we go over to the other beetle now that we've seen what that looks like, this is a really different looking intercoxal process because it has a hook. So it like comes down between the legs and then juts out again underneath. Uh couldn't tell you why it's doing this. I don't know what purpose that serves. But just again, between those two individuals that are like closely related, you can see this diversity in the up close details of the body. Another thing that tenebrionids, this family in particular, are known for are their heteromeroid. Okay, that's a term and a half. The heteromeroid trochanter. So on the insect leg, you have the coxa, which is the piece attached to the body. Then you have the trochanter. Then you have the femur. Then you have the tibia. And then you have the tarsus. Typically, those are going to be in line with one another and pretty obvious to be like, okay, this is the first segment attached to the body. This is easy. This is the coxa. Then the next one, then the next one, then the next one. This is a very odd looking trochanter setup because the femur basically comes back and is almost attached to the coxa on its own. So this little piece right here that has clear definition from the coxa and from the femur, this little piece is the trochanter. And this is the femur, and it comes all the way over here that when the leg is closed, this piece actually touches the coxa on the body. That is a really, really weird setup. Other beetles don't have it like that. Here I don't know. We'll just pull this weevil back here. It's pretty big. We can see stuff on it. Like this one, it's very clearly in line. Um, so you've got the coxa, then there's a little bit of trochanter, and then the femur is attached to the trochanter, but it is not attached to the coxa itself. So just that orientation on that front leg's trochanter is another uniquely tenebrionoid thing. Built different for real. Yeah, you're right. You guys have seen this before. This is should be a familiar weevil, but everybody always likes a good weevil. He's not very snooty. He doesn't have a very long proboscis, but yeah, can't go wrong. Everybody always likes these big specimens. This is Pacnius. Have I played bin weevils? I don't know what that sentence means, Roach. I know you've got bin chickens. Right? That's what you guys call the ibis. I don't know bin weevils, so I probably have not. British Club Penguin, but about weevils. That's sick. I loved Club Penguin. That shit was awesome in middle school. Um, I I don't think so. Glacial. That is poly. No, 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 no. Yeah. Um, Same subfamily. They have that similar shortened snout. Um, this one is not as metallic as the one that you were asking about. And I know it's always hard to kind of gauge sizes with things under the scope. Um, but if you've seen that Weevil that you mentioned in person, this one is like 4 times as large. So much bigger Weevil. This is the genus Pacnius. I think this is Pacnius lightus, which is the blue green citrus weevil. Um, I always forget we have that emote. Yes, Dan. Yes. Ooh. Ah. The color is not nearly as nice on the big cam here, but back under the scope, you get those that kind of nice green blue color comes back. And just like when we were looking at butterflies and moths the other day, uh, we can see that the color patterning here is made up of scales. So, just like butterflies and moths, the color patterning on a lot of weevils comes from these individual, like, essentially, they're flattened hairs that will make these different color patterns over them. And if I were to take a pin and kind of rub a particular section of this, those scales would come off. So you can see it's already sort of happening like right here on the pronotum. Um, but yes, you can strip these of their color, which is another reason why like using patterns to try to identify stuff is not the most helpful. Because sometimes you do get like a beat up specimen and it's it's not it's not what you thought it was going to be. Some really cool looks here too of the eye. The facets on this weevil eye are fairly large. So you get a real nice look at that. And then what just came into focus there, so that's on the pronotum right behind the eye, those are called the post-ocular vibrissae, which is basically just a tuft of hair behind the eye. So post is behind, ocular is eye, and vibrissa is like tuft of hair. So that's what those are. But again, getting that eye into focus, you can really see all of those little cells or pixels basically that help them differentiate and see a little bit better with their compound eyes like that. Cutie. Yeah. People people love the weevils. I get it. They are very cute. Get all that into focus. Another cool look. You can kind of see the different colors, like the blues, the greens, and then that like yellowish stripe across the side. Pretty neat looking weevil. Um, I think we'll just leave it here. We covered tenebrionids. Next time we will get into tenebrionoids on pre-Chatchats. Um, I did mention at the beginning that I forgot that we moved Chatchats up a little bit, a full hour. So we are actually going to be starting that in 26 minutes. Um, so rather than try and get through another family right now, I think we'll just leave it there of having covered tenebrionids, and I will babble here for another couple minutes, and then I'll take my break before we do regular Chatchats. Is there anything else that we wanted? Oh, I guess I can pull the spider molt back. We can look at some of the different parts. I like this idea. It's my own idea. But just take this off. This is the part that I want. Whoa. Those bits always scare me. Um, Broach, thank you for the bits. Do only scorpion exoskeletons glow under? Oh, you cheered 13 bits. Yes, thank you for the whole number 13. Um, Misu, yes. So scorpion exoskeletons will glow under blacklight. These tarantula ones won't. Um, but all scorpions will glow. There are some very niche cases when that is not true. So like when scorpions are born, uh, on on the back of mom, space. Thank you, Space Camp, for the 67 bits. Um, when they're on the back of mom, they are not they're not phosphorescent. They're not bioluminescent. They're not going to reflect that light in the same way that the adult exoskeletons will. Because part of the reason, and again, we don't fully understand why they do this, like why they glow. Um, but one of the reasons that we hypothesize that they glow is to actually help themselves locate other scorpions. And if you're a scorpion baby, you're kind of a tasty looking treat to an adult scorpion. So until you are old enough to like run away and fend for yourself a little bit, the babies don't glow off of mom's back. Thank you, Space Camp, for the 33 bits. Um, you're in the bit lead now. thank you for thank you for the bits. So until they're a little bit older, once they shed their skin and y'all, you guys are nuts. 21. Thank you. They glow when they reach scorpion puberty. Yeah. I sure. Because they get off of mom after like 2 molts, so it's kind of like scorpion toddler stage, honestly. Because they're not going to be ready to mate for a very very long time. So when they're ready to leave mom at the ripe old age of like a month or whatever, they will start to glow then. But then the adult scorpions, after they molt, like right away, their exoskeletons also don't fluoresce like that. You've seen Maya has the live scorpion. It glows. The exoskeletons like the molts glow. But that in between stage, right when they shed their skin, but they haven't had time to harden up yet, they do not glow. And it's for the same reason that the babies probably don't glow. Because that's a really vulnerable stage in their life. After they shed their exoskeleton, they're quite soft and pretty vulnerable to predators. So they don't want to be able to be seen by other scorpions that might want to try and come eat them. So those are the only two times that I can think of where scorpions won't glow is as a baby and right after they've molted. But in terms of like world diversity, all scorpions have exoskeletons that glow, and we don't really know where that came from or why totally that happens. Um, and like why you don't see glowing in most other arachnid groups. There are some harvestmen that will fluoresce in the same way under black light. They've got pretty intricate patterns on them that will glow in the dark, but not no spiders that I can think of that'll do that. Sea pause, hello, but also maybe a little bit unfortunately goodbye. I was just getting ready to take the break since we moved chat chats up an hour. So we are actually going to be starting chat chats in like 20 minutes. Um, since I was feeding all my arthropods and stuff, I need to run downstairs and grab something for Evan to eat. But what we've been looking at here on the stream right before we go, because I did want to show this. This is one of the tarantula fangs that got molted. So this is like the little capsule that holds the chelicera or the fangs. And it looks pretty scary up close, but consider this is only how big it is. You can still see the fang coming out there, but this is still very much a juvenile tarantula. The adults are much larger. We can come back to that in 2 weeks. So when I get back from ESA, no stream of any sort next week. So no Monday streams, no pre-chat chats, no regular chat chats, because I'm going to be at that conference. But the week when I get back, hopefully I will have many fun stories from the bug conference to tell you. But I also hope that I will be able to find that box of tarantula molts so we can show off a couple more of those internal structures and look at some of the bigger ones that I have in that box. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it there for now. Thank you for all of your bits, even if they were memey. But we are going to raid over into Alveus because in 20 minutes we have chat chats. For those of you that maybe didn't get here through the Alveus pipeline, I use the cameras on the Alveus Sanctuary to answer your bug questions. Thank you, Roach. Thank you. To answer your bug questions and see what we can find in the pasture of this nonprofit animal sanctuary in Texas. So pretty cool thing. That's how I got my start on Twitch, and there's a lot of crossover here between my community and that community. So we're going to head over there, and I'm going to take just a quick little break. And then in 20 minutes, I will be in my thank you, Space Cam. I'll be over there in 20 minutes answering bug questions. No camera, just the better cameras of the sanctuary. So I'm gonna send you guys over before you keep giving me bits. I will talk to you in just a little bit. Sorry for the tech issues again. It happens. I can't really control the internet, but bye everyone. Talk to you in a little bit. Thank you, Roach.